morning. I'm at the late night trailhead in the morning, and that guy is still here. There's a guy that stays here every single night, and there's a big ass sign that says, "Do not stay here." So it's fine. If he wants to take his chances, it's okay. I'm not going to say anything, but still, it's like, I don't know. The more rules you break, the more rules they make. So just don't make it hard for everyone else. That said, I'm going to make this easy. So I am going to do the Blue Diamond Loop starting here. So I'm going to go do the south part first, or the north part first. I don't know. I'm going to do the hard part first, which is a 2,000 foot elevation gain, and then going into a big downhill part all the way back down to here, and then doing the Mustang Loop, which I've just been doing on the regular one. Mustang Loop is 1 hour and 25 minutes, and the full Blue Diamond Loop is just under 3 hours. So I'm not going to film the elevation gain part because that takes about an hour to get to the very top. It's an easy climb. It's just a very steady climb, but it's really cool when you look back and say, oh my God, look how high up I am. And then after that, I'm going to do the big downhill part. I think it's White Rock, White Elephant, something. And then I'm going to come back here, and then I go right over there and do a clockwise loop all the way back to Blue Diamond Town, and then all the way back, coming out, spitting out over here by the bathrooms. So it's going to be great. I've got my GoPro, so I'm actually going to finally, after like being here for months, I'm going to finally film me doing that. So yeah, it's getting warm though. So let me pack everything up, and I will see you on the trail. All right, I made it to the top. There's some other trails up there you can ride down, but I'm going to go down the, I don't know, it's called White Rock or White Elephant. I don't know. Oh no, White Rock's the other part. That's another downhill part. This is just the fast bit up here. I don't know what it's called. I'll put it on the screen if there is a name. If there's not a name, I'll just put question marks. Anyway, so I'm at 4,600 feet. So that was a 2,000 foot elevation gain. So I've got my GoPro strapped to my chest. So yeah, a lot of guys will put the GoPro upside down. And one guy at the Angel Fire was like, why don't you have your GoPro upside down? I said, because I have boobs, and the boobs elevate them up, so I get the right angle. I'm not just looking down at my handlebars. So okay, so let's go do this. I made really good time. I pedaled the entire way from the parking lot. Let me fix my little balaclava here. Okay, yeah, so that was easy. It's getting hot, but this is the hard part's done, and now it's the fun part. So this is great. And then there's another part over there that goes up on that ridge line, which I've never been on. One day I'll do it, but it goes all the way down, comes back up. So it adds about 2 more miles. But for now, I'm just going to do this 7-mile loop and then get back onto the 11-mile landmine and Mustang Loop trail. So, okay. All right. So I'm back at the trailhead. There's Prue. She's right there. No, she's there. I don't even know. It's like when you're at the play center and you're like, where's my kid? It's like all the kids start looking the same or acting the same, and you're like, I just see a sea of children. Anyway, so I'm now back at the trailhead, and that was great. So that was super easy. It only took me 36 minutes to get to the very top before the downhill part. So I pedaled the whole way, and now I'm going to go do the Mustang Loop like I've been doing pretty much every day I come out here. So this is the first time in a while that I've done the whole 20 miles. So that was easy, and now let's do the home stretch. So I'm not going to film the slow bits or the flat bits. I'll just film kind of the fun downhill fast parts on the Mustang Loop. So that way you get an idea. But it's basically just this, kind of just a gravel ride. So yeah, let me get going before it gets too hot. I'm back at the Blue Diamond little town. So I'm going to check my email quickly and then change batteries for the 3rd time. And then I've got 5 miles back to the trailhead. Oops, sorry, 5 miles back to the trailhead. Yes, okay. Okay, that kicked my ass a little bit at the end. And we're here, a bunch of mountain bikers, another van, and then my van. There's Prudence. Is that bike? Not even, oh, it's a bike rack. Anyway, okay. All right, I'm done with my bike ride. I'm now going to the Hampton Inn to drop off my bikes. Excuse me, I've got a lungs full of dust. Oh, it's so beautiful out there. That was such a good ride. I don't think I can do that 3-mile ride more than like once a week or something. I can do the Mustang Loop and Landmine Trail like every single day. That 11-mile trail is pretty tame, but this one, it was long. It was 3 hours. That 3rd hour is always a little bit extra, but the downhill part was good, and I got lots of good footage, so that's why I wanted to do it. I will do it when I come back on Monday. No, Tuesday morning I'll do it before I head out of Vegas. So now I'm going to go to Hampton Inn, drop off my bikes just in case, and it's only like noon right now, but just in case they don't let me drop the bikes off. Like the lady said, yeah, we have somewhere you can drop the bikes off. That way, if for some reason I can't drop the bikes off, then I'm going to have to go find a bike shop somewhere to drop the bikes off, or go back to Trek, get the widget, or ask him if I can just leave them for the weekend. There is a bike shop in North Las Vegas that did let me store my bikes about a month ago, but you know, I don't want to ask the same people over and over again. The only thing is, because I added the upper cabinet, it makes it hard for me to hang the bikes from the ceiling. Also, I can't lift the bikes because of my arms and my wrists and all that stuff. Plus, it's a lot easier if I just leave it at a bike shop. Sometimes I will leave them legitimately, like to get work done like I did last time. And I will say, whatever the Trek store did to my bike was amazing. That was 3 days of amazing, awesome riding. And it makes such a difference when you have brakes that work and you have a chain that is like properly, you know, the right tension so that the gears don't, you know, slip. But that was great. It is hot though. It's already 77 degrees. It went up 30 degrees in the time that I was riding. So if I do this again on Tuesday, I'm going to have to start at like 6 a.m., not 7. I actually started at 8 a.m. this morning. So if I start at 7 and just do the hour and a half Mustang Loop and Landmine, I should be fine. But that was so good. Such a good trail. Oh, my ears are popping. Okay, so yeah, so now logistic time. So drop the bikes off and then go back to the Hampton Inn at 8 p.m. tonight to go to the airport. I'm going to go pretty early to the airport because I can just work on my computer. I do have a little bit of work to do this afternoon, just some, you know, just checking some stuff. But yeah, I'm going to be back in Houston anyway. So I've got all of Saturday. Saturday morning, I've got chiropractor, and then I think I'm going to work out. Okay, when I get in at 5 a.m. tomorrow morning to Houston, which will be brutal, I'm probably just going to go take a nap for a few hours, and then I'll go to the EOS gym again and just do the stair climber for an hour just to work out. So that makes a difference. Doing the stair climber for the week, all of last week, I can really see the difference in strength in my legs because I have very strong legs. So I'm going to do that again tomorrow. Saturday I'll take off because I have the chiropractor. I got my daughter, and then Sunday same thing, just my daughter, and then I have excuse me, I've got you know, I've got stuff to do as well on Saturday, running around. I've sorted most of the stuff out in the time that I was back in Houston, so I don't really have a lot to do. Just trying to sell the last of my belongings, which includes a couch and my daughter's old princess bed, and then we've got Jeff's bike also, which is probably worth about $4,000. It's been modified for an XL, you know, 6'4". So I've got that on the marketplace. I'll probably put it a couple other places. We need to get that liquidated so we can give the money to his daughter, his little 10-year-old, or 11-year-old now. And then, yeah, so the other stuff I have to do, I've got no more medical appointments or anything this weekend, obviously, because I'm only home Saturday, Sunday. And then after that, I've, come back Monday afternoon. So it'll be great. Anyway, so that's that. And then I just wait on a couple consults for the VA. Got to do my colonoscopy in July. I've got a telehealth on the 27th of May. Right now it's the 15th. I had a telehealth yesterday as well, and they were like, do you know what day it is? Because they have to do, like, you know, they were doing like a orientation check, right? Like, so they just want to make sure, like, you know, like you're mentally okay, which I am. The only thing I have is grief, and then I have PTSD, which is acute trauma related to being assaulted. So that trigger, whenever that very minute trigger happens, then I have a physical reaction to it. Like, I just close up, and sometimes I just, you know, vomit and just feel really sick and upset. But that just has to do with specifically with what happened in that incident. Doesn't affect the rest of my life. And so that's what PTSD is. And people that self-diagnose themselves with PTSD, like, oh, I think I have PTSD from the pandemic. I'm like, you're just slapping everybody in the face that actually went through the very extensive testing to determine if you have physical trauma, like post-traumatic stress disorder. You're slapping the face of anybody that went to combat or anybody that was in a domestically violent relationship. Like, if you go, oh, I have PTSD because my dog wasn't allowed into a cafe. I'm like, no, you don't. Like, don't fucking, like, self-diagnose yourself. I'm pretty adamant about it. Sorry, but not sorry. There's a lot of people that have to get, you know, accommodation and, you know, sensitivity and have to navigate this world with legitimate physical and emotional disabilities. And when people just come in and go, oh, I've got PTSD because the shop was closed today. I'm like, no, you don't. I mean, like, just don't, like, please don't, like, self-diagnose yourself. You know, to actually legitimately go through the process, because it is an extensive process. And I don't want PTSD at all. Nobody does. But I help people get out into the outdoors that have trauma, that PTSD never goes away. You never can stop that physical reaction to that trigger. What you can do is learn how to react differently to it, or to know that the trigger is going to trigger you. And then, you know, understand like your surroundings and like what you have to do to stop yourself from having that physical reaction, but it never goes away. And so prolonged exposure therapy is one of the ways that the military, like mental health department, manages, you know, the prolonged exposures where you talk about the incident over and over again. I went through that for 2 years. 2 years talking about the assault, and it was horrible. I haven't really talked about it on here, but it, you know, to be able to talk about it and be in tune with your emotional and physical reaction to talking about it. And then, because the one thing we don't want to do is we don't want to have to talk about it all the time. It's not AA where people just talk about the alcohol all the time. Like, we don't want to talk about it. Like, people with PTSD and trauma, they just want to get on with their lives, but they still have it, and they live in a world that doesn't understand it. So don't self-diagnose yourself and go around saying, oh my god, I've got PTSD because, you know, like I couldn't go to Louis Vuitton today. Doesn't matter. Please don't do that. Okay? Have a little bit of respect for those that actually have to live with what they have. I have PTSD from the injury I had in the military. So my prolonged exposure is to keep doing rock climbing. Indoor rock climbing where I'm tethered. I'm not ready yet. I may be this year. I think this year my goal is to try to do some outdoor rock climbing where somebody is holding a belay, but I've got to do that indoors first. I'm not ready to have somebody spot me, because that's how I ended up falling off the training course and breaking everything. And that's why I have disability. I'm not ready to trust anyone enough to do that. Even though I know it's technically safe, I don't trust anyone. So I am a long way still from having someone do the belay. Yeah. So other than that, I mean, you know, it's just, that's it. And then I've gone through grief counseling, and I really do utilize the, you know, the mental health department, the 5th floor of the VA in Houston. I do utilize it because I've gone through CPT, which is cognitive something therapy. I've been through ACT. Like, I actually enjoy kind of the activities and trying to think logically and draw pictures and be like, okay, like do diagrams and figure out how do I plot people on this circle, and how do I, you know, do I pour my problems out to the cashier at the supermarket who has no comprehension or even care to like comfort me, or do I, you know, select the people that I'm going to dump out to and then try to put on the brave face the rest of the world? That's just a constant 24/7, 365 navigation of the world. Anybody that has trauma is constantly having to move Tetris pieces around, you know, until the lines disappear. But it never goes away. And sometimes people get caught in the cycle of being back in the same situation over and over again, especially in relationships. And then the world blames them. And like, you don't understand, like, sometimes for some people, it is easier because they don't have the access to the therapy. It is easier to just stay in the cycle where they're in a constant fight, flight, and freeze mode than to be in therapy where they can walk away and be in a window of tolerance, which is like, I'll put on the screen what all that stuff is. The window of tolerance for someone that has trauma and PTSD is very, very small. And the fight, flight, and freeze is very, very big. And the goal of therapy is to increase the window of tolerance and decrease the fight, flight, and freeze. And what I do in my nonprofit, which I'll put on screen here, Hike Bike Alike, is that we want to increase the self-preservation aspect and decrease intrusive thoughts. So, and intrusive thoughts aren't necessarily just somebody that wants to kill themselves. It's also about like intrusive thoughts of like, I'm with this abusive person, another abusive person, and another abusive person. And my intrusive thought is that I cannot tell that person that I want to leave. I'm just going to get in a fight with them because that's the only way that I can fight, flight, and freeze. It's a vicious cycle. We don't teach abusers not to abuse in our society. We teach victims to block, hide. Oh, you've got to dress differently. You know, like, it's just victim shaming. We don't teach men not to rape women. We don't teach people not to be abusive. And yeah, women can be abusive to men too. And it's across all categories, all sexual orientations, everything. But the bottom line is that you only have yourself at this point. And if you don't have the access to the healthcare, if you don't have the insurance plan that covers mental health or other alternative stuff, which more insurance companies are allowing things like yoga and acupuncture and massage therapy, you know, now, which is very helpful, but sometimes it can also just be a band-aid, but sometimes the band-aid is all that you need. So what I can do in my little blip of space in the universe is just try to make the outdoors more accessible, and at least make somebody feel like they've accomplished a goal from A to Z. And sometimes some of the people I work with, you know, they're in marriages that they can't escape. You know, they live in Texas and they haven't worked. They're a stay-at-home mom. They've got a couple kids. You know, husband works oil and gas. He's cheating on her. He's abusive to her, manipulative because he knows that she can't leave. And she only has maybe 2 hours on a Saturday. So I take them rock climbing. Let's go indoor rock climbing. Let's do that for 2 hours. I'll bring some coffee and donuts. And it's great. And that's the kind, I don't put any of that on the channel because it's private. There's a lot of people that don't want to be the poster children for trauma. Eventually, when the Hike Bike Light grows, then we'll have more things like, you know, aspirational interviews and stuff like that, you know, this the whole story. But for now, I've just been helping people for the last 2 years, you know, and at least the last year as a nonprofit, try to get into the outdoors in every way that I can. I've negotiated discounts for veterans. I've negotiated packages for, you know, people that, you know, trained instructors that, you know, maybe don't know about the sensitivity that you need to have when you speak to somebody that has trauma. Now, I'm not equipped to work in cognitive disabilities or autism or, you know, disabilities that are things like, you know, like Down syndrome or cerebral palsy and all that stuff. There are other organizations that can do that. But what we can do is I can get, you know, our buddy system to volunteer with those organizations, but we're not equipped to accommodate, we're just not trained, you know, and that is a whole nother big area that maybe we will branch into, but there are organizations that do accommodate and help people that are in that category. In our category, it's people that were active, something happened traumatically, combat, PTSD, domestic violence, and they want to get back into it, or they were somewhat active and they want to reinvent themselves as a way to cope with the trauma that they're overcoming. And we want to reduce the intrusive thoughts and increase the self-preservation aspect. That's really what it is. And I mean, it's been fantastic. You know, I don't know exactly how many lives that we've saved, but I know that there's a lot of people that are like, hey, you know, we didn't think that we don't want to get up this morning, and then we went for a hike with you guys, and now we want to go do the hike tomorrow. We want to live every day, because what we did today is now the new yardstick. So we want to hand out yardsticks to people. But please don't self-diagnose yourself and go around on the internet telling people that, oh my God, you know, blah, blah, blah. Because there's all this stuff now. There's stuff with like influencers that have cancer that are saying things like, you know, like juicing cured me, and cancer is, you know, doesn't live in an aligned body. And I'm like, you're an idiot. Like, cancer doesn't care who it's in. You know, it's a scientific thing. It doesn't care if you're having a good day and you have cancer, that is great. Pain management is absolutely essential. And I've been through a lot of stuff in my life, a lot of medical and physical stuff and emotional trauma with the assault. And then I've had a surgery when I was 21 years old that saved my life. I've been there, but I have, like, you know, swayed toward medical science. But in terms of the pain management and your emotions and managing that, that's the stuff you can do with yoga and eating well and listening to good music and being around good people. You absolutely have to do that. But that doesn't cure the thing that you're dealing with. You have to have some sort of medical intervention, whether you believe that or not, whether you think that, you know, believing in God is going to cure your cancer. I don't know. There's everything on the internet, and some people get down the wrong rabbit hole, and you know, if you get the wrong information, you follow it, and it could really be harmful if you're not listening to the right people. So it's just really hard to kind of get the muddied waters out of the way. But, you know, all I can do is, if somebody is going through, like they went through breast cancer and now they're just feeling energized and strong, they've got this new lease on life, maybe they didn't live their life the way they wanted to prior to being diagnosed, and now they have a wake-up call and they're like, oh my God, I want to skydive, I want to bungee jump, I want to rock climb, I want to mountain bike, I want to dirt bike, I want to do all of this stuff. They can contact us. You can go to this website, my website, contact us and say, hey, I went through this trauma, even medical trauma. I went through this trauma, I went through this disease or this condition, I had an amputation or paralysis. I want to get back into it. I want to reinvent myself. I want to live the best life I can, and we will help you. But we're not going to tell you to juice 9 times a day. You know, That's not our thing. Even when I taught yoga for 15 years, I never was like, let's all say Om and be one with the universe. I'm like, no, we're sticking our leg over our head, and we're going to try to touch our left earlobe with our right toe. And if you want to say Om, that's fine. So I wasn't into the whole spiritual aspect of it. I was just into the physical side. And I ran classes for people that wanted to quit smoking, for people that just wanted to feel better, or people that were on their weight loss journey. They need a little bit more flexibility. And during college, I taught classes to all of the sports departments, which was great. And so I'd be sitting there with the football team, and I'm like, hey, all right, sit cross-legged. No, okay. What about like, can you like do anything because you have no flexibility? You're just a linebacker with all muscle. Okay, Savasana, just lay down, sleep. So, but I had people even now, like, 25 years, 30 years later, like, I really remember your class. It really changed me. Or even people like, hey, you were the girl that taught yoga at college, or you were the girl that taught us in Japan, or, after that. And I did it for 15 years. And then I kept taking classes up until the pandemic. And then the assault happened in 2019, and that kind of, threw me off a little bit because I had such bad shoulder injuries and stuff. I still can't bear weight on that arm. So I had to do other stuff. So I've lost a little bit of flexibility, but I'm going to get back into it. I think going to the EOS Fitness gym has been helping because now I can use some of the leg weight machines and stretch out a little bit there and not feel like I'm going to injure myself. But that said, it's been a phenomenal journey, but I'm not telling anyone how to live their life. All I can do is help them enhance it and stick to the way that my business model, even though it's not a business, it's a non-profit, right? So it doesn't cost anyone anything to participate. We have so many volunteers and everything. But our business model, our design of how we want this to work, we stick to that. We're not going to be swayed by some influencer saying, oh, eat kale and then you'll be cured of everything. Like, we don't listen to that. Like, all we care about is, when we don't even ask what the disability is or the issue with accommodation or any of that stuff, we can infer sometimes if somebody has a prosthetic, like, okay, they've got a prosthetic, now we have to accommodate. But we just ask, what is your accommodation? If you want to do equine therapy, do you need someone that speaks in a softer tone? Would you prefer the music off? Would you like the lights lower at the rock climbing place? When we talk about, like, what are some of the barriers that you've encountered that have prevented you from doing the activity that you're now about to do, we talk about that because we want to keep it positive. We don't want to dwell on the thing that is consuming them on a daily basis. They already have that enough. They don't need to be talking more about their trauma. What we're going to try to figure out is, what is the accommodation, what is the activity that would be best, and how much do they want to participate in it again after they've tried it one time. Did we provide a comfortable environment for them? Is there anything that we need to change in order to make them feel welcome? Is there anything the instructor needs to do differently? That's what it's all about. That is what we are doing, and we're saving lives. But anyway, that said, that was a really good ride. Sorry, I just ramble on. A lot of these videos I'm just rambling, but I'm going to go drop off the bikes, and then I'm going to go to EOS Fitness, take a shower, and then I'm just going to work on the computer. I'm going back to Hampton Inn at 8 o'clock, go to the airport right then. So yeah, just had some lunch, had some naan with peanut butter. That's all I've been eating this week for lunch because I bought a whole pack of naan, and it's really, really good. So I warmed it up a little bit, put some peanut butter on it, almond butter, and then, but I need to eat something proper. I've got some protein shakes in here that I can have. So I think I'll do that. And then, yeah, just kind of eat the rest of my food in the fridge. And then charge the Jackery. The Bouge RV is already at 40% just on the 3 hours that I was riding. So it's getting really good sun today. And the Jackery I'll charge at Starbucks. And then, yeah, just kind of power down about 7 p.m. and get ready to go home again. So it's so weird. It's just, the 3 days here has been fantastic. I'm so glad that I came here. I don't actually know where I'm going because the phone that I'm talking on is where my map is on. So let me figure that out. I think there's a freeway up here I need to get on. I'm going toward the airport. So yeah, and it's great. And it's only $5 a day to park at the Hampton Inn. I got a credit because I booked an extra day by accident for the Houston car. And so I got like an extra $5 off, which I already paid for, really. But anyway, let me figure out where I'm at. I'm on Dean Martin Road and Blue Diamond Road. So there's casinos everywhere. Glad to get out of here next week. It's been fun, Vegas. I spent 4 months here. Cannot believe I was here this long. But let me figure out where to go. It's the airport, left lane, 215. Okay. All right, talk to you later. Bye. All right, I'm at the Hampton Inn. let me go park so I can get the bikes off the back. Please let me put my bikes here. Like you said you would. All right, there's no parking. Hang on, it's very busy today. So let me go over here. They know me, I think, because I'm here all the time. So I just haven't been here in a month. I'm not a Diamond member. Be courteous. I need to take the bikes off. I'll go over here. Let's see. I could just back up there. That would be easier. Let me go over here. Okay. There's really nowhere good I can park to take the bikes off. There's a pole there. Okay, over here is fine. There's a tree. It's not gonna work. I have to back in. Always have to back in. It's just easier to get the van out. So okay, so I can go over here. If this person doesn't go the wrong way. Thank you. Okay, these people are so nice over here. Let me figure out where I can put the bikes. I've got a lock, so that's fine. So I'm gonna back into this space over here. It's gonna cover the sidewalk, which you're not allowed to do, but it's only gonna be for a minute, so I can take the bikes off, and then I'll put the bike rack up. It is toasty in the basin. Okay, let's make sure. Okay. Oh, actually, I'm not covering the sidewalk. Yeah, you're not allowed to cover the sidewalk. Like if I had backed up more and it was covering, because people in wheelchairs need to be able to get by. Just be mindful of that. It's good to have a gravel lot too that you can park on if you have larger rigs. So let me go in, go tell them they need to do what I say. No, just kidding. I'm like, don't you know who I am? It's like I paid for that. So yeah, so let me see, just double check where they're gonna put the bikes. It's only for like 3 days, then I'll be back on Monday. All right, the lady's checking. She's so nice. If we can make your stay better, talk to any member of a team. We'll have you 100% happy guaranteed. That's right. It's a really, really big amount of responsibility. Cannot believe that. I'm so disappointed. I'm just kidding. No, they're the nicest people. They're like, yeah, just bring them in. I'm like, I gotta pee as well. So let me go do that first. Yeah, it's so helpful. And I was like, I gave them, my card, and they gave the card back. And they said, we know who you are. Okay, thank you. That's a relief. So now I can get on with my day. And she's like, yeah, you can bring them in. So, okay, cool. Okay, so here's what I'm gonna do. I need to go get another tracker today as well. So here's what I'm gonna do, is I'm going to put the tracker, I'm gonna hide the tracker under the seat. I'm gonna tie it in there, and I have a way to do that. I'm gonna leave the tracker in there, or leave the tracker in the water bottle, which someone could take that. I gotta hide the tracker on here. Okay, anyway. So I was trying to think of a way to leave the tracker on here where I could put it. I have a thing to put air tags in here, but air tags can be tracked. And if I could hide it in there, somebody might see it though. Yeah, or in the water bottle, but then, like I said, somebody can take the water bottle. And this only lasts for like 4 days. I kind of want to do it, but I trust these people, so maybe I don't need the tracker. Tracker needs to stay in the van anyway. I need to get another one today anyway, just for my luggage and stuff. Ooh, luggage, the L word. Okay, let me go get these off the back. The guy in there is funny. He's like, how much do one of these things cost? Some old crotchety guy. And he's just like, I'm like, I don't know. Like, I got mine for like $2,000 on sale. It's usually like $6,000. And he goes, man, my car's not even worth that much. Okay. Oh, people are good. If you're a good person, people are good. I really appreciate the world that enables me to do what I do. Yes, it takes a village. It also takes a lot of employees. So, goodbye bikes. This is such a relief. All right, and here's my hardtail. I think my new bucket list item I've added is to do a wheelie through a hotel lobby. I'll probably get arrested, and then I'll also probably become famous on YouTube. I'll be like, what'd you do? No, just kidding. It's all the Red Bull stuff. It's like they used to sell drinks. Now they do crazy stuff. Yeah, the guy's real nice. He goes, we're gonna lock him up. I'm like, oh, it's going to like bicycle jail. Aw. The workers are great. They're doing like bicep curls holding the bikes. And I was like, don't be like riding my bikes in the parking lot. I'm gonna come back on Monday and they're gonna be doing wheelies. I'm like, I got cameras on my van. Okay, I'm sweaty. Glad I did this now. And now I'm gonna go to EOS Fitness. There's tons of them in Salt Lake City, so I'm gonna cancel my Planet Fitness membership tomorrow. I think I'm done with Planet Fitness. Yay. Okay, then I'll be in some place where there's no EOS Fitness, but I think they bought out 24-Hour Fitness. I think they like took over another franchise. Okay, well, thank you. I'll be back here in like 6 hours. Okay.